Good morning, students. So we were discussing about the super elevation on a railway track. Okay. So to counteract the effect of centrifugal force, the outer rail of the curve is elevated with respect to the inner rail by an amount which is equal to super elevation or cant. Okay, that's meant by super elevation. A state of equilibrium is reached when both the wheels exert equal pressure on the rails and the super elevation is enough to bring the resultant of the centrifugal force and the force exerted by the weight of the vehicles at right angles to the plane of the top surface of the rails. So this is the condition of state of equilibrium. That is when a state of equilibrium is achieved, the resultant of centrifugal force and the force exerted by the weight of the vehicles are at right angles to the plane of the top surface of the rail. So this is the figure showing equilibrium condition. So based on this equilibrium condition, we have derived an equation for super elevation in the previous lecture. Okay, so what is the equation for finding out super elevation? That is E is equal to GV square divided by 127 R. So this super elevation is known as equilibrium super elevation because the difference in height of outer rail and inner rail of the curve is derived, or the super elevation is derived based on the state of equilibrium condition. So that super elevation is known as equilibrium super elevation. So equilibrium super elevation is derived based on the equilibrium condition, and the equation for calculating equilibrium super elevation is E is equal to GV square divided by 127 R. Okay, so here E is the super elevation in millimeters, and V is the speed in kilometer per hour, R is the radius of curve in meters, and G is the gauge length in millimeters. That is, if the unit of G is in meters, that is, if we are giving the unit of or the value of G, gauge in meters, the value of E, super elevation, will be also in meters. Here both are in millimeters. If we are giving value of G in centimeters, the value of E will be in centimeters, like that. Based on the unit unit of G, the unit of E also varies. Others are same, that is V is in kilometer per hour and R is in meters. Okay, so based on, depending on the unit of G, the unit of E varies. So this is the equation for calculating equilibrium super elevation. So next is cant efficiency and cant excess. So equilibrium cant means when the lateral forces and wheel loads are almost equal, the cant is said to be in equilibrium, or the super elevation is said to be in equilibrium. Okay, so this equilibrium cant is provided on the basis of average speed of the train. So we are designing the super elevation value based on the design speed of the train. Okay, that is based on this value of V, that is speed of the train, the super elevation also varies. So usually we are designing the super elevation for a particular speed of the train. Okay, so based on the designed speed, or based on the equilibrium speed, or based on the average speed, we are designing the value of E. Okay, so when the speed of the train varies from this provided, or varies from this average speed, there will be variation in super elevation also. Okay, so that two condition is known as cant efficiency and cant excess. So when the speeds of the train are higher or lower than the speed on which the super elevation has been calculated, a certain type of inequilibrium will develop. Okay, that is because the super elevation increases with square of the speed. From that equation, E is equal to GV square by 127 R. That is, E varies with the square of the speed. Okay, so at higher speed, the centrifugal force will not be counterbalanced. That is, when speed increases, the super elevation value, or super elevation value also increases. Okay, so the centrifugal force will not be counterbalanced, and that is known as cant efficiency. That is, when train travels around a curve at a speed higher than the equilibrium speed, cant efficiency occurs. That is, the provided cant will not be sufficient in order to counteract the centrifugal force. So that deficiency of cant is known as cant deficiency. So it is the difference between the theoretical cant required for such high speed and the actual cant provided. So actual cant we have provided based on the average speed of the vehicle, but practically the train is moving at a higher speed. Okay, so when the train is moving at higher speed, the centrifugal force will not be counteracted by the provided cant. So there will be a cant deficiency, deficiency of cant or deficiency of superelevation. That is known as cant deficiency. Okay, so this condition occurs when the train travels at a speed which is higher than the equilibrium speed. That is cant deficiency. And next is the cant excess. Cant excess occurs when the train travels at around a curve at a speed lower than the equilibrium speed. Okay, so for the equilibrium speed we have provided the theoretical cant. Okay, so when the train is traveling at a speed which is less than the equilibrium speed, there will be an excess of the cant. That is, the provided cant will be excess. That is known as cant excess. So it is the difference between the actual cant provided and the theoretical cant required, because theoretical cant will be lower one because speed is low. So when speed decreases, this cant value also decreases because both are directly proportional. Okay, so there is excess of cant which is provided cant will be excess, or provided cant will be more than the theoretical cant, and that is known as cant excess. Okay, so these two condition occurs when the speed of the train is more than or less than the equilibrium speed or average speed. Okay, so cant deficiency means the equilibrium cant is provided on the basis of equilibrium speed. Okay, that is, equilibrium cant is E is equal to GV square by 127 R, and this cant is provided based on the equilibrium speed or average speed or weighted average speed of different trains. Okay, but this equilibrium cant or equilibrium superelevation falls short of that required for the high speed train. That is, when speed of the train increases, this provided cant will become deficient, and that deficiency, that shortage of cant is known as cant deficiency. Okay, so this cant deficiency occurs when the speed of the train is more than the equilibrium speed. Okay, so cant deficiency is the difference between the equilibrium cant necessary for the maximum permissible speed on the curve and the actual cant provided. So there will be difference between the actual cant provided and the equilibrium cant. That is known as cant deficiency. So we have to calculate what is the cant deficiency, and based on that we have to design a new speed for the track. Okay, and we cannot provide a cant deficiency a maximum value. That is, there will be a limitation for this cant deficiency, because when the cant deficiency is very high, it will give rise to higher discomfort to the passengers. That is, when the provided cant is very high, or when we are going to provide a very high cant, it will give discomfort to the passengers. And also, higher cant deficiency means higher would be the balance centrifugal force, and hence extra pressure and lateral force on the outer rails. Outer rails will have to face a lot of lateral force. So this will cause wear and tear of the outer rails. So we cannot provide a cant deficiency above some limited value. So there is limits of cant deficiency which is provided by our railway authority, and the maximum value for cant deficiency prescribed for Indian Railway is like this. That is, for broad gauge, the cant deficiency for speed up to 100 km per hour is 7.6 meters. So you have to by heart this value. 7.6 centimeter is the cant deficiency for broad gauge. 7.6 centimeters or 76 millimeters. And if the speed is greater than 100 km per hour, when speed increases, this value will also increases. So it is 10 centimeter or 100 mm. Okay, so the all values for broad gauge should be by hearted. Usually the questions will be asked for broad gauge. Okay, and for meter gauge it is 5.1 centimeters, and for narrow gauge the cant deficiency is 3.8 centimeters. Okay, so this is cant deficiency. Cant deficiency is the difference between equilibrium cant, which is necessary for the maximum permissible speed, and the actual cant provided. And for broad gauge the cant deficiency is 7.6 centimeters. Next is negative superelevation. Okay, so this negative superelevation occurs, this condition occurs when there is a branch track which is deviating from a main track. So in this figure it is the main track, and another track which is deviating from this main track is known as branch track. So it is deviating in this direction. Okay, so in these situations negative superelevation occurs. That is, in this figure, for this main track, this is the main track, AC is the outer rail. So this main track is moving on a curve. Okay, so AC is the outer rail of the main track, and it must be higher than the inner rail BD, because it is traveling through a curve. So on curve, in order to counteract the centrifugal force, the outer rail should be raised with respect to inner rail. So here AC should be higher than the inner rail BD, or the point A should be higher than the point B. That is the case of this track. Okay, for this branch track is also moving through a curve. So for this branch line, the BF, the outer rail BF, this BF should be higher than AE. This is the inner rail AE. This outer rail BF should be higher than AE, or the point B should be higher than the point A. But in the previous one, this point A should be higher than the point B. That is, these two here occurs two contradictory condition for these points. Okay, so these two contradictory conditions cannot be met at the same time within the same layout, same section. Okay, so instead of this outer rail BF on the branch line being higher, it is kept lower than the inner rail. Okay, so in this case, the branch line curve has a negative superelevation. So speed on both the tracks should be restricted for this case. Okay, that is known as negative superelevation. So I will repeat. Negative superelevation situation occurs mainly when a branch line is deviating from main track. Okay, so since both are traveling on a curved path, superelevation has to be provided. Okay, so in the main track, this is the outer rail. So here this A should be higher than the point B. Okay, but in this case, B is the outer rail for this branch line. Okay, branch track. So B should be higher than this A point. So these two contrary condition cannot be met at the same time for the same point. Okay, so therefore we are reversing the superelevation value. So here for this branch track, we are raising this inner with respect to outer. Usually we have to raise outer with respect to inner, but since here these two contrary condition occurs in this branch line, we have to raise the inner rail with respect to outer rail. Okay, so this is known as negative superelevation. That is, here we are reversing. Okay, so this is known as negative superelevation. Okay. So the method of working out the speeds on main line, branch line, and negative superelevation is clear from the following steps. That is, this is the steps in order to provide the negative superelevation. Okay. So for that, first the equilibrium superelevation or cant on the branch line is calculated by the previous equation, that is E is equal to GV square by 127 R. So based on that equation, first we have to calculate the equilibrium superelevation. Okay, equilibrium superelevation on a branch line. So the speed of the branch line will be given. So based on that, we can calculate E value. Okay, that is the first step. Assuming speed on the branch line, usually the speed on the branch line will be given. So first step, we are calculating E, that is the equilibrium superelevation. In the next step, we have to calculate the permissible cant efficiency. The permissible cant efficiency is deducted from equilibrium cant, which is obtained from first step. That is, in the first step we are getting the equilibrium cant. Okay, then from the table there is a permissible cant efficiency for different types of gauge. That is, for broad gauge it is 7.6 centimeters. So from this equilibrium cant we are deducting the permissible cant. and the difference obtained. Difference obtained means that what is the difference? Equilibrium can minus permissible can deficiency will give the negative slope elevation to be used in the branch line. So this difference will be the negative slope elevation which is to be used on the branch line. Okay, that is the third step. So in the first step we are calculating equilibrium slope elevation. In second step we are calculating the permissible can deficiency from the table, and the difference of equilibrium cant and the permissible cant will give the negative slope elevation. So there will be a difference between equilibrium cant and permissible cant, and we are calculating that value, and we are giving the negative value. Okay, we are just reversing the value, so that is the negative slope elevation which is to be used on the branch line. Okay, then next step, this is for branch line, and this negative slope elevation is same as the maximum slope elevation permitted on the main track or main line. Okay, up to this we have calculated all the things, the difference for branch line, and this value of slope elevation, negative slope elevation of the branch line is equal to the maximum slope elevation on the main line. That is, in both in this situation the slope elevation is same but just reversing. Okay, so the slope elevation we have calculated for the branch line is same as that of the main line, only difference is it is negative, so we have to reverse the sign. Okay, so we have obtained the negative slope elevation or slope elevation for the main track from the branch track. Okay, and the restricted speed on the curved track is obtained by adding permissible deficiency in maximum cant on the main track and applying the formula. That is, finally we have to calculate the speed, restricted speed on the main track, restricted speed of main track, that is calculated from the equation, that is E is equal to the same equation, that is E is equal to GV square by 127R. That is E, we have got the value of E from this step, so from that we will get the value of V. Okay, so when doing one problem you will be clear. So you should by heart these steps. Based on step you should do the problem. Okay.